Michael, can you tell me the story about the money and women and their ranches and why it doesn't matter?
Well, I love these women. That's why I was married or with them. I really did love them. But at some time in our relationship, things changed. We went different directions, and there's no way I could not follow my direction. So I knew I would have to leave or change. So I always felt, because what I always hear is women say, he screwed me out of all our money. You know, the husband's always hiding money. I had never hid anything, you know. So I felt the way that I could escape the karma of leaving my wife, which is some karma you have to go through. I don't care who you are. You've got to know yourself, and once you're straight with it, you're good. You're really good. You're better. But, you know, you've got to go through the reality and truth of it all and take your fault, that you're blamed for who you are. So I would give them everything.
How does that feel now?
It feels great, because I never had in my whole life ever worry about them not having anything, or say that the guy, my husband, took everything and left me with nothing. I gave them everything and I left with nothing, because I always knew I could recreate it somehow. Mm-hmm. What do you mean I can't? What? Mm-hmm. I mean, I've dreamed about working in a place like Home Depot where I don't have to think. You know what I mean? I can just be there. Yeah. I go, maybe I could do that, but I don't think, I'd probably be bored in the first half hour and go nuts. That's, you know, you gotta get activated. So, all my life I've done that. All my life. Mm-hmm. I've ended up, I mean, when I was really rich, I had I had everything I'd ever dreamed about having. Because they were just appearing. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what I had. I wasn't happy. I wasn't going in my right direction for my life, and so you know, it's tough. And I was a spiritual leader when I don't mean to say this. Like this institute, 650 people. He picked me to, I was the top guy out of nowhere. My philosophy teacher in college is just a little guy out in the audience, and I was the big boomba leading things and stuff, because the teacher loved me, and so he's giving me all this extra love, which drove everybody else nuts. But so that year I was taking philosophy in college. And you do a year project in philosophy, make something, write something, all about your philosophy. So all these people you look at all this work, and I'm going, So I'm the last guy to present. And I went up there and told them I have nothing, because there's no reason to do anything. And I explained why I did nothing, and I got the only A in the class. And I did nothing. And I explained why I did nothing. It was philosophy. And I got an A. And this girl that did so much, and she was sitting next to me, she got a C. And these people were mad. Like, how can you just walk up there and not do all the work we did? Well, did you hear what I had to say? I mean, because this teacher, my philosophy teacher, knew that I was getting enlightened by this. He knew that I was on the right track. So
what did you say?
I just told him why I didn't write it. I can't remember the download.
Okay.
I didn't even know what I was going to say when I got up there. I really didn't. Mm-hmm. I just relied on it coming. I mean, the basics was to do this project. It's an intention, so you can learn this, and so we can, have markers at our accomplishments and things. But I took a freedom approach where if you don't have to have these goals met, that you can let them go anywhere you want, but you're totally present with them, that there's no need to produce proof, physical proof, to prove it to anyone else.
Right.
I don't have to prove who I am to you for me to be happy, do I? No. Mm-mm. I mean, I love that you're in my life, we know that, but that's just the benefits of being, you see? So I can really love someone, you unconditionally, because I can see you. Mm-hmm. You see, like I say, yeah, I can see you, and when I see people right away. You know? But at the same time, I'm the guy that went out into Watts, hired all those people to build their houses and built housing projects for the government in Watts with all those people working for me, the black community. And I went into the Mexican community and built all these housing with all these heroin, all these people. I went in there and got them to work and built their projects and survive. I mean, you know, people get killed in these projects. I'm telling you, these guys are crazy out there. But I somehow was able to deal with all people. The government loved me because people were getting killed on these jobs. So
yeah,
I just be with them, just see. I mean, when I got with the Mexicans, I realized that I was so fortunate in my life to grow up on the beach, in Manhattan Beach, and being a surfer, and all these beautiful women, and I'm out in, you know, the shits with all these people that can't even think positive thoughts, and they talk about their girlfriend like it was just crazy how. But they couldn't get out of the pot. It was a crab pot. And someone tries to get out through religion or education, those other people in there just pull them back in to be one of them. So it's very difficult to get out of the situation they're in.
Right.
But the guy that the government gave me to hire people was a heroin addict. But he was a big badass guy, and he could deal with all 4 gangs. So he was the guy. So one day, I was sitting there in my office, and I had brought a whole load of lumber to the job, and I dumped it off outside. And this guy pulls up in his truck, and he starts loading all my lumber in his truck. I'm sitting there going, oh. So I let him do it. Fill his whole truck with all my lumber I brought out there, and he takes off. You know, he's the guy I have to work with, the government. He's a heroin addict. What am I going to do, go out and call him out or what? No. So at 12 o'clock, the guy comes back. Mm-hmm. He goes, Michael, he says, I found some material that you're using, and I'll give it to you really cheap. I go, really? Let me go see. So I go, wow, this is great. It's so nice of you to offer me this cheap, but you know what? I have too much material out here already. Mm-hmm. So I have to take some back. So I really don't need it. No, thank you. Mm-hmm. And the guy's sitting there with a whole truckload of lumber that he didn't know what to do with. You know, he's on heroin. What he did, I went back in my office, and the guy unloaded all the lumber there and took off, and I got all my lumber back.
Wow.
Because, you see, it's you know, it's just, you had to really be with these guys and understand and not cross into some area that made them mad.
Right.
And when all the girls in their little units would be, come on over to our place, come on in. I never went on in because I knew that I'd never come out. Yeah. Because they'd have people in there that, you know.
Yeah.
It was so funny in the way it was. But I love the people. I love the people, and I, you know.
You did some healing work by showing up, by being human.
And so it was, you know, in the terrible drives, terrible areas to work. I live at the beach, you know, what am I going into Watts for? You know? But when Watts burnt down, everything burnt down except a friend of mine's office. He was a black architect, famous black architect. Mm-hmm. Everything in Watts burnt down except my friend's office.
Wow.
This architect. And he was a great guy. I love this black architect. He was so cool that I designed his house. We modeled, you know, inside of his house. He lived right next to, God, what famous singer was that? He was really
Do you remember a song?
God, I should remember this guy. He was so famous for so long. And the cover of his album was a picture of his house, which was right next door to my... So Edward C. Barker was this guy, and we played tennis, and I would bring him down to Manhattan Beach. We didn't have any blacks in Manhattan Beach, you know, and he loved my wife. And so I just had this great relationship with him. He had his secretary was a black modern dancer. Oh my God, and he hooked me up with his secretary. Oh, and I'd go down to LA to see him, and then I'd go to the Bonaventure Hotel for a while. I used to call it the Bonaventure because I was in that time of my life, you know. It was just like, it was too crazy. But this guy was great. And his brother was one of the top saxophone players in the world in jazz. So he took me to all the black jazz clubs that no white person was there. But he could take me, no one would bother me. He would take me in the deepest holes to listen to some good jazz. And I mean, there was no white reflective face in there ever. But so I always had the right guide with me, or the right person. When my friend died, he died of brain cancer. I was really sad. The whole state, all the government took the day off. The Congress took the day off in Sacramento and put the flags at half-mast for my friend in the state. And then his funeral was this big domed building, and it had all the stars like you're looking at night. And this great black singer came up and sang the song Friends. I mean, this guy, and everything in the song was about my friend. I mean, that was just incredible. To see all these people honored. There they are!